Hello, everyone. For those of you who are seeing me as well as hearing me, and those of you who've been in the audience for some of my previous video podcasts, you'll notice that my background today is a bit different. And the reason for that is that now that lockdown has started to ease a little bit in Britain, we've come north, and we're going to spend a week doing some hiking in the mountains up here. And that's gotten me thinking about how my system and my GTD practices support me being productive wherever I want to be productive. Okay. And we arrived a few days ago. And as I was setting myself up to sort of, do some work up here, it occurred to me that all I really needed to do was find out the Wi-Fi, figure out how to get connected to that, and then basically where the power points were so that I could charge the various electrical things that need charging. And I was sort of done. I was sort of in the equivalent of the same environment that I would be in if I were working in my home office. I mean, the only real exception, I suppose, to that is I didn't bring a printer scanner up here. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. And I was thinking about what that enables, and maybe some thinking that you can go through to try to figure out whether your system is supporting you in optimal ways as you become a bit more mobile. Here's hoping that we all become a bit more mobile over the next little while. So with that in mind, let me just talk about a few principles, okay, that come to mind. One is thinking about where you want to be reminded about things, right? So if you're out and about, if you're in the car, if you're on the train, if you're just wandering around your neighborhood, is there anything in particular in those environments that you want to be reminded about? It could be, by the way, that you just say, no, if I'm out for a walk, I'm not going to think about work. I don't want to have access to my emails. I don't want to have access to any of my reminder lists or to my Microsoft Teams posts or whatever. I don't really need to have access to any of that when I'm underway. And that's important, right? It's important to be clear, where do you want to be reminded about what? Because that'll have implications for your system and how it's set up. For a lot of people, synchronization to mobile devices is a bit of a big thing, right? They don't want to carry their computer, their laptop with them around all the time, or even their tablet, if their tablet is their primary machine. And so they set up their system so that they can have synchronization happen. And the tools for that have gotten, they've been coming along for quite a long time now, but we're now to the point where for most of the major platforms, it's not at all a problem for you to have access to the same set of reminders in your core system, let's say on your laptop computer, as well as on your mobile devices. But asking yourself the question, where do I want to be reminded about what, I think is pretty key. One of the evolutions of my own system that happened many years ago now, was I would find myself, outside of my office environments, whether it was the home office or the office, and I didn't have access to a piece of paper, right? There was something physical that I needed access to. It was notes from a meeting, or it was something that, I had jotted down, and was sitting in a folder in a filing cabinet back in the office. And I realized over time that given the amount of time that I was spending on the road, probably a good idea for me to look into alternatives to having physical things that were, as I say, quite regularly not in the place that it was helpful for me to have them. And so what I started to do in my own system was to digitize things. Now, there are loads of ways to do that these days, of course. I do something that's reasonably low tech, which is just make use of my mobile device. Generally speaking, I'll just make use of my mobile device to in effect photograph whatever it is that I want to have digitized. And then that makes its way into the appropriate reference location, whether it's a folder in Outlook or whatever, where I can find it later when I need it. So again, if you spend a lot of time away from your office, away from your home office, and you're thinking, yeah, I'd really like to, sort of make myself more productive in those kinds of environments. I think thinking about to what extent you want to be digitizing things, that could be an important consideration. And just to be clear, that doesn't extend to everything physical in my life. some of my really, really old tax records, which are in paper form and sit very safely in a filing cabinet back at home. Those are not digitized, right? I'm very happy that the only time I would likely need access to those is if I were at home, and so they're in paper form only. So if you're interested and you're thinking, yeah, there's an opportunity here, right, to refine my practice and my system a little bit, have a think. Okay, think about the various places that you're going to spend time. Again, in lockdown and as you come out of lockdown, maybe, and think about, where do I want to be reminded about what? Where do I want to have access to what? And make sure that your system and make sure that your practices support you in being as productive as you want to be, wherever you want to be. I hope that was helpful. If, again, as with all of our podcasts, if you are keen to stay up to date on our latest thinking around how you can get more of the right things done in less time with less stress, then please do subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Do also please be in touch with us. You can visit us on www.next-action.co.uk. You'll find there you can subscribe to our newsletter list. You can stay in touch and let us know what's on your mind. And if there are any topics that you'd like us to discuss in these in our podcasts and our webinars, please do let us know. We're very happy to hear from you and happy to help you to stay on your game and refine your game over time. Thank you for being with me today. Bye for now.